Hey, hello.
Hi, Zhi Xiong.
Hi, come on in.
Thank you.
How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great.
So, are you an early bird or a night owl?
Night owl? But isn't that also a bird? Okay, anyway, I'm a night owl that rises early.
What is the first thing you thought of this morning?
That you're coming?
Cool. What is something you do every morning without fail?
Oh, I have to drink coffee, for sure. That's even more important than brushing teeth.
Is that what gets you out of bed?
Well, the question shouldn't be what. It should be who gets me out of bed. And that would be my wife.
So, what do you like to do for fun?
For fun? Everything. I do everything for fun, right? Whether it is work or whether it's for leisure, it is important to have fun and enjoy everything that we do.
Out of curiosity, what does the word home mean to you?
Well, I think home, it's really about who you are living together with, and that would make up a home.
How many homes have you lived in?
Oh, too many to count. But having said that, right, that doesn't mean that I've been living with different people. It is the same people. But if you're asking about home in a physical sense, I live in too many homes to count.
And how many countries have you lived in?
2.
Why does your home look so empty?
Well, I just moved in and I'm still trying to, get myself orientated and unpack and so on.
So could you share with me, what is the most Singaporean thing about you?
Oh, my beingness.
And where is your favorite place in Singapore?
I don't have a favorite place, but I must say I have a favorite region. I grew up in the East, so I'm an Eastie. But having said that, that's why it's important to make the West great again with places like LightHouse, so that we can attract Easties to come here.
What has been taking up your days as of late?
Well, definitely planning for LightHouse and so many exciting ideas and programs from the team and really getting the team to bond and gel together.
What is something your students may not know about you?
That I almost didn't make it into NUS.
Cool. Do you have any hidden talents?
Well, I love acting, and I have been dabbling in theatre for quite a big part of my growing up years. So in fact, I'm so good at it that my students actually think I'm teaching.
That's a nice shirt. What is your personal style?
Oh, I'm a beach uncle, right? I love the beach and I'm at that uncle age.
I see. And what is the most overworn item in your wardrobe?
Oh, it has to be this one, right? This is a singlet that I won in my first marathon in 2009. Look, complete with holes, right? Totally legit.
Cool. What is your learning philosophy?
I think the best way to learn is to teach it, right? That's the best way to learn.
Oh, I see. What do you hope residents would get out of staying at LightHouse?
Well, I certainly hope they will, find a community that will help them to find their purpose and identity in life. And at the same time, sort of understand that there's really a process and there's really no rush to find their purpose and identity, because it should be a process to be embraced with joy and positive anticipation and not despair and anxiousness. So I hope by the time they leave their LightHouse, they may not have exactly settled down on their identity and purpose, but they certainly have a community and a process to help them do so.
Alright, how do you deal with negativity and criticism?
First of all, it's important to ask 2 questions. The first question is, what do I own? And the second question is, what does my critic own?
I see you have quite a nice book collection. Can you tell me what is your favorite book of all time?
Well, look at my books here and my books there. Actually, they're just for bai sui. I have very little time to read these days. But having said that, I was quite a geek when I was young, and I loved a lot of science books.
I've heard that you co-authored a book. Can you tell us what it is about?
Yes, wrote a book on curriculum change and development in health professions education.
Cool. What inspired you to write this book?
I wasn't inspired. I was voluntold to write a book. But having said that, right, I got inspired throughout the writing process.
What is the best career advice you've ever received?
The best career advice would be something I received about 8 years ago when I first started my career, which is, at the early stage of your career, right, build muscles everywhere. Don't forget your leg days. But as you advance in your career, then you begin to specialize in what you really love, what you're really passionate about, and what your purpose and calling really is.
So what was your childhood like?
Materially poor, but emotionally fulfilled.
Who would you say is your role model?
I have many role models, and I think that in life, we need to have several role models. So obviously my dad is one of them. So he was not a man who went to school during his time, but he's a man full of wisdom that I could learn from growing up. And along the way in my professional and personal life, there have been many role models that have come into my life. And I'd love to share them more with you over coffee.
If you could go back in time and tell 20-year-old Zhi Xiong one thing, what would it be?
Well, I would tell him, yes, those were mistakes. But mistakes can turn into blessings in life later on. Not just for yourself, but also in the lives of others.
That's so wise. Do you have any advice for students who are looking to become professors?
Well, my advice would be to ask, why do you want to become a professor? But don't ask it once. Ask why 5 times. And by the time you reach the answer for the 5th why, ask yourself, does the answer still align to the original intent of becoming a professor or whatever profession that you aspire to go into?
So then I have to ask you, what do you think makes a good professor?
A good professor should aspire to reply email within 48 hours.
That's nice. Who's the professor whom you feel closest to in NUS?
I feel that's a question that you're trying to trip me up. Okay, I feel kind of it's a setup here, but there are many professors who have left a deep impression and impact in my life. In fact, they have even influenced and inspired me to continue my journey with NUS. So I have professors that inspired me, and when I was an undergraduate, one of them was Professor Maxi Chung. He's semi-retired now from the Department of Biochemistry. And later on, now in my professional life, Professor Ko Dao Run and Professor Hui Xing Chuan from Department of Physiology, and they have been really pivotal in how I carry on in my professional and personal lives.
Cool. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
10 years, I hope to be able to hand over LightHouse to my future successor in one piece and intact, I hope. I hope our drug discovery work in neuroblastoma would be able to provide another treatment option for our patients. I hope I would be a mentor to colleagues, to continue to inspire them to do the good work in health professions education. I hope I will be able to see my kids grow up and going into adulthood. And next 10 years, I'll leave it to whatever and wherever NUS wants me to do and wants me to be.
Awesome. What is the hardest thing you've ever done?
There has to be getting married. Okay, I don't want to scare all of you. It's not that marriage is a bad thing or I'm adverse to marriage, but I must say that it is the hardest thing because it is also one of the most important decisions in life. I mean, imagine yourself cleaving yourself to another human being for the rest of your life. That is surely a decision that one cannot take lightly overnight. So I must say it is the single hardest thing to do, but it's also the most important thing to do.
And what has been the most difficult thing to learn?
That would be receiving feedback. I think receiving feedback requires a lot of humility, requires us to acknowledge and admit mistakes and where we have gone wrong. And I think it is one thing that I need to continuously improve on and remind myself to do better.
How did you become interested in studying cancer?
Well, cancer is really a disease where there's so much growth and there's so much life, and it causes something or someone to die. And yet, in order to live, some things in our life must die in a controlled manner. So I find that there's nothing more fascinating and profound than the topic of cancer itself.
How do you feel about being able to contribute to cancer research?
To be honest, I think whatever I'm doing is really just a very small bit of what the entire worldwide large community is doing. And I think that small bit that I'm contributing to colleagues in the pediatric or in the oncology field, or even to fellow scientists, and most importantly to our patients, I think that is immensely gratifying, and I wouldn't say that I've contributed a lot, and I would say I'm just happy to do my big part in this entire large community.
Why is healthcare education so important to you?
Well, of course, why not? I mean, we're literally training people to take care of ourselves, including you. So I think we do need to take it seriously if we want to be well taken care of in the future.
What is the coolest thing you have learned from your students?
Well, that would have to be urban speak for sure. I'm still learning all the memes and all the stickers, and my students will know me because especially when I take forever to reply them, because they know I'm trying to choose an appropriate sticker, and they know that I'm always trying too hard.
That's cool. What is your favorite kind of student?
My favorite kind of student would have to be the sort who are, a little bit playful, a little bit cheeky, but they also know what are the right things to do, and most importantly, they have a caring heart and a heart for others.
So, do you have pets?
Pets? Do kids count? No, I'm just kidding. I have a couple of things that swim around here. It's really my kids' stuff, and I think that now that I have my breakfast, I really need to make sure that they have their breakfast too. So yeah.
Nice. What is the most privileged thing you have heard someone say?
That going to Cambridge MRT is very far and very tiring.
Well, what is your proudest achievement?
Well, being a dad. I always tell people that being a dad is a full-time job. Everything else is a hobby.
If you had any superpower, what would it be?
That I don't have to fold clothes ever again. That clothes will fold by itself. I really hate folding clothes.
What is the advice that you have completely ignored?
Well, that I would say have to be an advice once where someone told me, don't rock the boat. I think the person told me with good intent, but I think sometimes it is important to challenge the status quo for the right reasons.
Yeah, you're right. What would you like to be known for?
I want to be known for someone who gives more than I take, whether in terms of time or whether in terms of material or finances.
What social cause is closest to your heart?
Okay, I know this sounds a bit cliche. I'm not running for a pageant or political campaign, but I must say environmental causes is something that really speaks to me. And that's why I'm here, surrounded by a lot of nature in this part of the world, of Singapore.
And when was the last time you cried?
It has to be on the 20th of May, 2021. That was when my boss told me that I might just possibly be promoted. And to me, I didn't cry, but I shed a tear because I was moved, because it meant a whole world to me what the community has done to support me to be where I am today.
What is a question you get asked a lot but wish you didn't?
Yeah, it's very strange. A lot of people ask, are you a commando? Well, I wish they didn't, because I'm not. And really, I'm not legit. Just look at me, right? In Hokkien, they say ho kwa bo ho jia, right? Which means got style, maybe no substance. So yeah, I'm not qualified to be a commando.
What are some of the non-negotiable things you do to look after your mental health?
I have two advice here. Number one is, do not assume the worst in people. And number two, don't try to control everything in life. And I think in that way, we'll be a lot kinder to ourselves.
How did you deal with pressure when you were studying?
Studying? What studying?
What would you say is the key to a good dish?
Well, I think a good dish is really about how one makes it with a lot of heart, a lot of love, and a lot of flow. Making a good dish is not like doing an experiment, right? No timers, no calculation, no measurement, just flow with it.
What is the craziest dish you have ever eaten?
Something or somebody's tongue in Uzbekistan.
So, can you cook?
Does instant noodle count?
And what is your best memory from university?
Well, that would have to be meeting my wife, for sure, outside LT 26, in case some people are thinking about where they should meet their future wives.
So, what are you just about to do now?
I'm just about to feed my rabbit because, after I have my breakfast, I realized that I have more than one mouth to feed.
Although traveling is difficult now, which is the best place you have traveled to?
There are quite a few places that are quite special to me because they offer a different culture and perspective, I would say Uzbekistan, Pakistan, Slovenia. They have really cheap and good gelato there. And I must say, there are two places that I'm glad I went because it would be very difficult to go now, Myanmar and Russia.
And can you share with me, what is the biggest takeaway for anyone who travels?
Well, I would say, do a bit of planning, but don't be too hung up on the plans, alright? Because just like life, sometimes things always don't go to plan, and it is okay.
What makes a good travel buddy?
Well, a good travel buddy would be someone, who doesn't panic when you do.
Do you think you would make a good travel buddy?
Well, I'm kind of a bit of a, my wife would tell you I'm a bit of a panicky guy. Thankfully, I have her. But I do have my attributes that I think would be useful for traveling. Well, for one thing, I can keep up long hours without sleeping. Maybe there's some use for that for traveling.
And what has been your own biggest personal takeaway from traveling?
Well, the biggest takeaway is really, like what I mentioned again, plan, but don't be too hung up on your plans. And it's okay for plans to change. And that's the beauty in life. In fact, when I travel, I don't even book hotels. I only book hotels when I reach the place, and because that allows me for my plans to continue to evolve and to discover things that I least expect.
So Zhi Xiong, do you play sports?
Oh yes, definitely I do. I play, when I was younger, I played soccer. And now at my age, it's very difficult to find 21 middle-aged men, right, to play soccer with the social distancing measures and all. So I've been doing quite a lot of running as well as tennis with my children.
Do you watch sports?
Oh yes, I love to watch sports. I watch soccer and I watch tennis.
What is your favorite team?
Well, my favorite team has to be the one that is most disliked by those who do not walk alone. Now, but having said that, I'm not a Liverpool fan, but I must give it to Liverpool for having a motto that I cannot disagree with.
And who are your top 3 favorite players?
Eric Cantona, Andre Kanchelskis, and Ryan Giggs. So I guess you know how old I am.
I know you're always eager to try out new things. So can you share with me what's one thing you've learned about yourself recently?
Oh yeah. I learned that I can still run the same timing as I did when I was 21 years old.
If you could change one thing about the world, what would it be?
Well, definitely, have people who care about others, right, more than themselves, and have more trees. I think we definitely need a lot more trees around the world.
So what music do you listen to?
I like all kinds of music. Literally, but maybe I'm still, finding my footing, right, in death metal and black metal. So that part of me may be a little bit difficult, but basically I like all kinds of music.
Who is your favorite artist?
I don't have a favorite artist. Again, I have low fidelity when it comes to music, and I listen to everything. But again, perhaps I may not be so familiar with artists from death metal or black metal.
Could you share with me, what do you love about NUS?
Everything. Otherwise, I wouldn't be spending half of my lifetime here so far. In fact, this is exactly the year where I have spent half of my lifetime in NUS.
If someone were to ask to find you, where's the most likely place you would be?
On the streets, running.
Finish this sentence for me. LightHouse is the place where?
Well, LightHouse is a place where I hope students and residents will come here and they will find light, right, to really sort of overcome the darkness in their lives. But more importantly, the light is also a form of searchlight that will help them uncover, right, the identity and their purpose that they never knew. And I hope that they will help others do the same as well.
The next question gets a little bit deep, but is there anything that you regret?
Not finishing my French in secondary 2.
And what do you think the world needs more of?
Again, we need more trees.
So what are you going to do right now after this interview?
I am going for my pre-lunch exercise. Important, remember I teach endocrinology. So energy input must balance energy expenditure. So if before I have any energy input and intake, time to expend some energy. See ya.
Cool. See you. Thank you for
Bye-bye.
speaking to us. Bye.